And we are live. Welcome back to the James McGee Show. I am your host. I am James McGee. We have the one and only Pappas from One More and I'm Out of Here, and Candace from the Candace is Right podcast coming to you in
One of these.
2026. Dead or alive, she's coming to you. So welcome.
Yes.
Thank y'all. We got a lot of stuff to get into. Let's jump right into it. I'm gonna let you go a little bit, Candace, and give us an update of what's going on with this Candace
Ugh.
Owens and Turning Point shit. I'm gonna pull up a Twitter article. You've been following this pretty heavy. Tell us what is going on with this. It's
Okay.
getting unbelievable. And when we go into the next segment about the RNC and what's going on with Republicans, I kind of blame this situation for some of
hmm
it too. But go ahead with it.
It's incredibly infuriating. So, as we know, Candace Owens has been going on for the last 3 months, accusing other people. She's taken us all over the fucking world, from Utah to Egypt to France to Israel, wherever. She's come up with a lot of these crazy theories, and Turning Point has been quiet. Well, this week, Turning Point was like, fuck that. We're going to finally issue a statement. So
Mhm.
they issued a statement. Now, Blake Neff, who is the Turning Point spokesperson, I believe he's doing the Charlie Kirk show, and
Yes.
that's his responsibility. So he came on, and yes, it was a scripted. He was reading this. This response was clear, concise. He went through and pretty much stated that for the last 3 months, they have been quiet, and they were quiet because number one, they didn't realize that people would actually believe some of this stuff that she was saying.
Yeah.
Number two, they felt that they were just in a position to just let it run its course. And number three, it was very unlike what Charlie would have wanted, which
Yes.
would have been this type of back and forth. So he goes through this and he starts listing the, numerous conspiracy theories that Candace Owens has come up with. And then at the very end, he states that they have invited Candace Owens to do an in-person meeting where they can live stream this and discuss each and every crazy allegation and debate each and every allegation that she has come up with. They end the video. It circulates. It goes around wild. Candace Owens responds that she accepts their invitation. Uh, I guess, Turning Point goes through. They have some debating. They figure out what time, what they decide to do, and they post on X, which is what we have in front. That is that they will do this 4 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. local time on Monday, December 15th. And they give Candace until the end of the day to decide if she can do it. Now, people threw a little bit of a back and forth about this response, and I'll go through that a little bit once I go through what her response was. So she replies via X saying that, she would have appreciated an email or direct contact to schedule such thing, and that she can't do an in-person because that's when her show is streamed at 2 p.m., local time, whatever the case is. So then she says, but I'm more than happy to cancel and then jump on a live stream. But she was declining coming in person. So fast forward to either yesterday or the day before, Blake Neff has been attacked for doing this on X. And he pretty much said, like, listen, everybody else found out about this. So we were not concerned about the time in which we posted. We knew people were going to find out about this. We knew it was going to be very easy to figure out what day, what time we decided on this. Number two, we want this in person because when you have these type of allegations, the most authentic way to discuss them is in a face-to-face situation,
Because
which couldn't
people
agree
kind of
more.
lose their balls a little bit when they're face to face, and I think it's kind of like when Cincy and Pappas finally come face to face, Cincy's balls are going to shrivel up. So
That's
that's how.
100% right.
Go ahead on. Keep on.
Yeah, so it made sense, of course. Like, that is what anybody would expect. Now, they also stated that this determination of timing, now I don't know if this was direct from Blake or if this was direct from a source at Turning Point, but Erica has full knowledge of all of this, and she was kind of the one that cleared the statement. Obviously, she's the CEO. She cleared the public statement to be made. She cleared the session to be scheduled. So she's having a part in this. She wants it done as well. So there's currently a lot of back and forth. And I have not been a Candace Owens fan, really since the election, but this just really took a really deep dive for me,
And
regardless
you
of
really
whether.
want to be, because y'all are kind of kin a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. We got the ACE going on. We got to stick
Yeah.
together, but she fucked it up.
Yeah.
I even bought her book. I never read it, but I bought it. But, it's creating a lot of divide, and truly, even in my own like circle, I had a bunch of people give me shit over some videos I did, and they wound up unfollowing me. Good, grow where you're watered. I don't give a shit. But this is a huge distraction, and it's a problem because people that don't understand how the legal system works and how the real world works, they know that things are not going to really be publicly discussed. There's not a whole lot that Turning Point can shed, especially if they have nothing to shed on this. And what Candace Owens is doing is not only affecting conservatives, the ability for conservatives to be together, but she's also affecting the legal system from doing what it's designed to do. And if this kid walks away free, it's her fault. Now, anybody can tell me all day long that they don't believe it was him. We have a radical leftist problem. I believe it was him. I believe he may have
Oh,
been paid to do so, but this is the killer. And let's be real. I'm not a big gun enthusiast. Like, I have a couple handguns. I've gone to the range quite often. Could I make that shot? I don't know. With all the technology and some of these handguns nowadays, I know I've gone to the shooting range and I've gotten some really killer shots being there once or twice. So, I mean, is it out of the realm of possibility? No. And it's frankly annoying that people are saying that it is.
yeah. So, Pappas, give us your thoughts, and I got a couple comments when you're done.
Sorry, that was
Listen,
long-winded.
No, not at all.
No, you gave us information. I didn't know a lot of this.
I just think this wing of conservative pundits that, I mean, it's not just Candace Owens. I mean, let's be honest, Tucker Carlson's kind of gone off the deep end too.
Yeah, you've kind of been down on Tucker a little bit too.
I mean, listen, I was a big Tucker fan when he was on Fox, and he's just, I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they never believed it. Maybe it was just a money-making deal for everybody. I'm not really sure, but Candace Owens specifically, some of the stuff she's done, and I wanted to be a fan. I like a lot of the things that she has said in the past, but a lot of the, about seems like equally since the election, I'm like, really? I'm like, I don't know what her hormones are doing. I don't want to get too in the weeds on that, but I don't know I just don't know what's going on with her. And she is making it difficult, like you just said, on a lot of fronts. We don't need, other than Carville on the left telling the Democrats that they're out of their minds. By the way, James, have you ever run into old Carville down there in Louisiana?
I have. I met him years ago when I first got into politics at an event in Baton Rouge. I'm talking about probably 15, 20 years ago. And he's not a bad guy for a leftist because he's a Louisiana. But you know what? I mean, the guy's he's probably in his 80s. He's an old school Democrat, Kenneth, but he is a he's that old blue dog Democrat type,
He skirts it a little.
He's had to conform to that, or you're out. You got to go a little left. But back in the day, that's what he was. He's a smart guy, but he's also very out of touch with the. He's a dinosaur. But I have.
In their party for sure. But my point is, you really don't see though. I mean, on the left. They usually, and this is not only just their pundits, this is also their politicians for the most part. They don't usually fight amongst themselves because they know who the enemy is. And I don't really like the fact that we're having these stupid discussions. I mean, I kind of was like, when I don't remember the first thing. I guess when she started saying what's her face was a man, the first lady of France.
Trudeau.
Macron or whatever.
Macron.
Trudeau. Close.
Macron's wife was a man.
They're really the same people to me. Macron.
Exactly. Freudian slip.
I'm like, and I was like, who cares? I mean, just who cares? It's silly. It's just,
but that's exactly. That's not what we fell in love with Candace Owens about. I fell in love with Candace Owens in 2020 with the George Floyd because She was the one that said what we were thinking, and she could. First off, she's very smart, very articulate. Second, it did not hurt that she was black, and she was the first one to say, "Hold on, this." And look, she did this before. Now, I'm doing it, and other people are doing it because the facts came out that they lied. But this was when we all still thought Chauvin killed him, and she said, "Hold on a second, the policeman was wrong, but George Floyd is not a mortar." And when she said that, I'm like, whoa, she's right. Even though he is wrong, why are we posing this guy as a martyr when he was a lifelong criminal drug addict? So that's when we fell in love with her, and then she got wacko. So a couple of my thoughts is, so when Turning Point to finally say something, what it's telling me is they're doing some polling, and the polling is showing that she's gaining some steam. So if she would have, they were to me, that organization is smart enough that she's not gaining steam, you just let her shut up. So she must have been gaining steam. Now, for me to even repeat anything that Nick Fuentes says is odd, but he did have a good point about this. This is exactly what Candace is doing. She's not saying anything. She's doing it. She's becoming, and this is my words, not his. She is becoming just a publicity and media whore over this incident. Yep. And what he said that is right made me start thinking is, she keeps saying, "I got it. Tune in tomorrow." And then tomorrow
never gets here.
Tomorrow comes. There's like, "I got more information tomorrow." Then tomorrow comes and she ain't got shit. So So that's what really turned me off, and then on this debate deal, I'm on Turning Point's side because she said, what did she say, Candace?
Anytime, anywhere,
any place.
What happened?
What happened? I mean, well, you sold wolf tickets and you got called out.
What bothers me the most is, like, there is another element of this that I think the reason why Candace Owens is gaining so much traction, let's be really real with each other, is this is like another form of our inner country war on Christianity, right? People don't understand devout Christian behavior, right? And so when people don't understand it, they put a negative connotation on it. Yep. It is not like a devout Christian to say, "Fuck Candace Owens, fuck this, fuck." Like, they're not going to do that. They're not going to come out and be like, "That bitch is crazy." They're not going to start that type of debate like that. And I think people then took that as they're lying. And I think also the general public loves scandals around Christian organizations because they have such a negative connotation when it comes to organized religion in general. Yep. That they love when there's any sort of tea that has to do with a Christian organization. And that's why I think she's really able to funnel this into this, like I've been saying, a fucking General Hospital series. And she's been captivating people's attention because this is such a great scandal. Fuck the Christians. They do shady shit all the time. See, they had this man killed. It's a very easy thing to do. And that is really what pisses me off, because you're taking this group of people who have devoted their lives to being as close to Christ-like as possible, and Christ didn't have these types of debates. You see what I'm saying? And it's really unfair. It's almost like you took this group of people knowing that you could walk all over them and paint a bad picture of them, because do as Christ does, not fight back. And that's exactly what the issue is for me.
Well, I don't like extremists. In any realm, extremists bother me, no matter if it's extreme religious people, they're cuckoo in my book. Any type of extremist, I can't really, I don't have a whole lot of tolerance for. What's your thoughts?
I think she's time will tell where this goes to. And I think the best thing to do, Turning Point, put that stuff out there. She's either going to bite or not bite. Looks like she's not biting. And you know what? People make the public will make the decision. You're never going to stop. My point here is you're not going to stop a certain segment of the population that seeks out conspiracy theories, just for the sake of having them. Much like you said, there's a lot of people now that think that, the Charlie, rightly or wrongly, I've talked to people at the gym or wherever, and they're like, oh, they said there was another shooter. How many people were there? Well, there was
The
over.
grassy knoll. The grassy knoll.
Was there 3,000 people there, or more than that? Weren't there? How many people were at the Charlie Kirk deal?
I think it was 5,000 maybe.
Yeah. So you're telling me if 5,000 people are somewhere, and there's a guy, closer with a handgun. That the thing is, the shot report, blah 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 blah, his head jerked back, blah 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 blah. The other one is, and I just giggle when I see this stuff. Oh well, he was going against Israel, and so if you look, his what was it? The microphone started to smoke before he was shot, and that was like a bomb placed in there by the Israeli Mossad. I'm like, really? I mean, seriously, is this where we're at? I mean,
yes.
How about the point that we have a kid that had the gun we found, the ballistics seem to match. They're like, well, his head didn't go forward or backwards. I was like, hey, man,
it's not supposed to.
Bullet,
I don't understand.
Like, the bullet didn't go through. And I'm like, okay, it could have hit bone. James, you've hunted. I mean, I've seen bullets do weird things. It was not particularly a difficult shot. Now, where he was hit, my opinion, where he was hit, the guy was probably aiming at his head. He probably squeezed the trigger, pulled it a little too hard.
Exactly.
So it went to the right, and it wasn't much to the right, and he got a shot off into the guy's neck. It was low and to the right, considering where his head was. It just barely, it hit enough of his neck to rip that artery out, and the poor guy died. I mean, why can't we accept that? I mean, why do we have to have some big conspiracy theory about stuff? It makes no sense. Trump, they did the same thing when Trump was assassinated. Oh, that wasn't a bullet. That was a piece of the monitor. The glass from the monitor cut his ear. How about we just let it go and
say what it is?
Just say, hey, listen, guys, sometimes, Occam's razor, sometimes the most plausible explanation is the explanation. And I just don't get off to all these conspiracy nuts and conspiracy theories. And I think the best thing to do, such as in this case, is just literally ignore it, because they're going to show themselves to be nuts. And you're never going to convince everybody anyway. So why try?
You're right. Let me give my somewhat educated opinion on this. So number one, so yes, Candace, it's not a difficult shot, but I will tell you that you're not making that shot. If all you ever shot was a handgun, even if you're good at close range, it wasn't a difficult shot, but you had to kind of know what you're doing. Anybody that had ever hunted, so you didn't need to be a sniper to make that shot.
Right.
So for a person familiar with a rifle, and I've been to sniper schools, I was a SWAT guy before I was a fat administrator. I was a SWAT guy when I was a real cop. So I do understand that I could have made that shot pretty easy. And a lot of other people could have made that shot too. But your common person not familiar with a rifle, no. But he was proven to be familiar with a rifle. And then also, and good evening, Tyler. Also, Pappas, the narrative fit. Why are they fighting so much when it wasn't like when they found out, okay, the guy was he was with a tranny. So Charlie Kirk was, in their eyes, anti-tranny. Case closed.
Does that make him gay? I still haven't got a good answer on that, James.
We need a diagram.
Well, does that make the guy gay if he was, because I get confused about this, so bear with me. If a guy is dating a dude that thinks he's a girl, does that mean that the first guy one is gay?
Yes.
Okay, yes. But he thinks it's a girl.
He has a penis. He's a gay.
It's mental illness.
Oh, there's no question.
It's mental illness, right? It's a new way to pivot from well, I'm not full gay. You know what I mean? It's these new categories. But James, you're 100% right, and it pisses me off. The simplest thing and the most factual thing is we have a radical leftism problem in this country. Radical leftists try to assassinate Conservatives. It's very fucking simple. It's very easy to spot. It doesn't take a complex formula. That is exactly what it is. And the more we keep trying to pivot from this problem and make excuses and say, oh, no, it's the people in Israel. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, the more we keep doing that brainless nonsense, the more we stop focusing on the fact that we have radical leftism and extremist groups in our own country that are trying to pick us off one by one.
That's right.
And they're doing a pretty damn good job of it, to be honest with you. They're getting real close. But hey, let's remember the real problem here is the president using the R word against Tim Walz in Minnesota. Because
I love it.
People are driving past Tim Walz's house and calling him the R word, which we're going to say the R word out of respect. But I'll tell you this. I think that even before Trump did that, there was probably a fair amount of people that were driving past Tim Walz's house shouting the R word at him.
Now, Candace, if you missed this the other night, it is being investigated that Pappas is the guy driving in front of Tim Walz's house yelling R word. So
no, he was with me.
Oh, thanks.
I'm not saying Tim Walz. Yeah, go ahead.
But the funniest thing about that is, let me ask you a question. You're in your house right now. Candace, you're in your house right now. I'm obviously in my house right now. My house, and I would venture to say that none of our three houses are as grandiose as the governor's mansion in Minnesota. Would you say that's probably a fair statement?
Yeah, we got moderate homes.
Okay, do you hear anyone driving past your house doing anything right now? If someone was driving by, hanging their head out of the window, screaming, could you hear them in your house?
Yeah, I could.
I could not. I could
really?
Not. No, I could not. My house is well constructed. No disrespect to yours, but
we're nosy.
No, somebody driving past my house yelling, I'm not going to hear it, and because my windows are closed, the heat is on. It's cold here. My point is, Tim Walz is not hearing somebody drive past his house screaming the R word at him because it's freaking wintertime in Minnesota. If you saw the ground, you saw the weather, the window.
I think he totally is. I think it's happening.
I hope it is. I hope it is, because I don't feel bad for the guy. You know why?
Yeah.
No.
Because I got to tell you, he is a
retard.
He is retarded.
And also, I'm going to tell you this. I'm not saying, look, here's my assessment of him, and we'll touch on him. I'm not saying that Tim Walz is gay, but if a man walked up and kissed him, I don't think his first emotion would be anger. That's all I'm going to say with his sexuality. But you know what? Since we're talking about him and his feelings,
I think he's more of a retard than he is gay. But I mean,
so he's gay with a mental illness. So he's very concerned about this, Pappas. He's very concerned about everybody picking on him because, Tim Walz has never picked on anybody. He's never said anything bad about anybody. So let me show the video. And he's being, it's not right that he's being picked on. He's such a really good guy. Here we go.
Oh, poor Timmy.
Calling neighbors garbage and the state of Minnesota a hellhole is I'm assuming is unprecedented for a United States president.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
But demonizing an entire group of people.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
Just be very clear on this. Anyone in this state, especially elected officials, who are unable to condemn this vile attack on our neighbors in our state, you are complicit in it.
As I called Donald Trump a wannabe dictator, it's because he is. It's because he is. Oh. The governor's being mean, and the governor's speaking out on that. Well, maybe it's time for us to be a little meaner.
You get up, you do scroll through things, and although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying.
That's Keefer's favorite one.
News sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
Yeah, I can't believe they're picking on him, Pappas. Yeah. He's such a wholesome guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know when I got sick. The first time I saw that guy was when they brought him on stage at the DNC, and I said, and I know that I think his son has some condition. I can't remember what it is. His son is like has some condition. I can't remember.
He's got bad genetics. First off,
that's number one. And his daughter does too. She's flapping her gums on social media quite a bit. But I remember that they were walking on stage and he literally yanked his son. Did you see that when he
Oh,
was
yeah, he
coming on
did.
stage and they were coming out and his son has, and listen, I get it. You're in front of a bunch of people. You don't know what's going on. His son did something and he just yanked his arm so hard. And I was like, that's not right. You know, that's not what a loving father does. That's not the way you treat your son.
He's an evil person.
He's
Let me
an
tell you.
egotistical, narcissistic prick from Minnesota that is a, you know, and let's be fair, I think he's up to frickin' here into all that fraud and corruption that's going on
There
in Minnesota.
absolutely is no doubt, because that's what they do. But let me tell you about Walls is most people had never heard of Walls.
No.
I did. And the reason
How?
why was because of George Floyd.
Oh,
Because
okay.
when George Floyd happened, I was still, it was right before my retirement. It was the year right before I retired. And we even over here in conservative Southwest Louisiana, we had marches. So, and I was the incident commander of all the marches, all the protests. So I was really studying it. And let me tell you, so I was watching every press conference. I was doing everything that I could to make sure that I had all the information. I was engulfed in it. And I decided this guy was a complete buttfuck back then. And then when Kamala announced him as her running mate, I have a TikTok where I lost my mind. And I was getting comments of, why are you so mad? Who is this guy? I'm like, y'all gonna see, y'all are going to see how terrible this guy is. Because I remember this TikTok, I'm like, Tim Walls, are you fucking kidding me? This guy is an absolute buttfuck. What are they thinking? Which, and then I was like, damn, this is great news for us.
Well, remember, they had to find somebody that made her appear competent.
Right.
So that was
found the right one. They found
another gaff bag.
That's pretty hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, Pappas, let's talk about this deal, because you and I are both pretty good, you know, pretty loyal Republicans. We're in tune. But when we started talking about the RNC, neither one of us knew who the chair of the RNC was.
Oh, I knew. I had to look it up, though.
But
my computer knew. It's like, hey, Siri.
So here's my problem is, where the fuck are they right now? Look, they did a good job during the election, but I also feel like Lord Trump being a part of them was a big deal. Charlie Kirk being alive was a big deal in doing this. And, you know, that's one of the biggest things I have, Candace, with the whole Candace Owens things and turning points. Hey, get off of that shit and let's get down to the business of right now. To me, the Democrats are kicking our ass in the PR war, because we're sitting here fighting each other. Where's the RNC? Where's the leadership saying, hey, let me show you, because they should be doing constant polls, and I know they probably are, and showing these leaders, hey, this is the message we need to do. This is what's going to counter. I don't see non-biased leadership, and non-biased is supposed to be the RNC. They're looking out for all the Republicans, and they should be the ones saying, hey, this is the temperature. They're the ones with the thermometer. They should be telling everybody, hey, this is the temperature, this is the messaging. And I don't want to compliment a Democrat for anything, but perhaps I think they're whipping our ass right now in the messaging war.
Not going to argue with you. I mean, you know, I don't sometimes I think what you might be seeing is that and this is something to consider, and maybe this has to factoring into why the Republicans aren't doing anything back. And I agree with you, there should be some national coordination, but by all measures it looks like the midterms we're going to get our asses proverbially handed to us, and maybe they're just, you know, tucking their, maybe a part of the strategy is, you know, let's just keep our head low and kind of just let whatever happens happen. And I don't agree with that. I like to come out swinging.
A year happens. We have a year. We
have a year. I would think so, but I mean, apparently.
But does it matter? Honestly, you guys, like this is what I can't stand about the whole game is like, yes, we have a Republican president, and then all of a sudden we're now gonna lose branches of Congress, and then we're just gonna keep doing this. We keep doing this. So it also speaks to, it's not just the RNC, it's the general public doesn't know what the fuck they want and they don't understand how any of this works, right? So the affordability conversation.
Proper
Okay.
messaging tells them what they want, though, Candace.
Right. So you want things to be more affordable. Amazing. So we've got a Republican president who's working on deregulation, who's giving you less than $3 a gallon of gas, who's working on these things to eventually create sustainable affordability. But you dumb fucks are going to go ahead and just elect a Democrat again and have it all go away because they believe in regulatory practice. They believe in supply chain issues. They believe in just so much regulation that it affects the gas and oil industry. So you're going to be paying more for your gas, which then contributes to each and every higher cost for everything else. And so we just keep doing this.
Frustrating, isn't it?
It's frustrating. I'm at the point where it's like, go fuck yourself. Pay more money for shit. I don't care. I can afford it. You guys fuck yourselves. It's not me. Like, I'm good either way.
Welcome aboard. Welcome
Yeah,
aboard. I love the attitude, and I'm right with you. I mean, I'm like, look, we had an election here locally, didn't go our way. The Republicans sat home. The city of Cincinnati. Let me tell you something. I'm not going to be Cincinnati centric here, but I'm going to bring it down to the local level because all politics is local. You have a guy that could not. He has had a mayor here has had his car repossessed twice in the last 2 years. Twice. Guess what percentage of the vote he got against J.D. Vance's half brother, and that got a lot of PR. Okay, that got free PR for the Republican.
Yeah, he got a free name ID because he didn't really have name ID.
Guess how? Now you would say, and we've had a bad summer here. We've had violence. We've had shootings. You might have heard about it there. Cincinnati's gone through a bad run here lately. This year for sure. Gun violence has been off the charts. Let me ask you a question. What do you think the Democrat incumbent mayor, who's now on his second car repossession, has what do you think percentage of the vote he got, Candace?
Oh, he probably won by 20% or 20 points.
20 points is all the other guy got.
Yeah,
he
won 80%. Yeah, 80-20.
There you have it. Yeah.
So you take that to a national. You say, well, I don't care. I don't live in Cincinnati. But what you just said is the same thing. You said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm to the point, I'm a little bit older. I'm 60 years old. I'm able to do whatever I want to do. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of caring for people that won't care for themselves.
Right.
Right. And if you're going to go down this road and you're going to choose this form of government, I read today or yesterday, someone sent me an article. The young people, what is it? I can't remember the names. Is it Generation Z? Is that the next one? I don't even know.
Yes. Generation shit.
Generation shit is right. So
Generation Z is that generation that is entering the workforce. It's my daughter in their early 20s.
Okay.
Generation Alpha is the next ones.
Okay. This is so
Alpha.
Cool.
Well, they're going 6, 7.
He's the one that we really need to be concentrating on right now. Because they're the 18-year-olds registering to vote. They're the workforce. So Z is really the issue.
Hold on to your socks because apparently there was a poll and Generation Z is like overwhelmingly supportive of socialistic ideals and theories. And they don't believe, that capitalism is the way. They think that the government should be doing everything for everybody. And look, James, you raised a great point. We have a great opportunity right now, the Republicans, the RNC, the Republican Party, with this discussion on Obamacare. Okay, Obamacare was never designed to be affordable. That's why it was subsidized. It was never designed to be the answer because they were using it as a Trojan horse to get to what they really wanted, which is single payer, government-run healthcare. Okay, that was said at the time. What all you're seeing now is a fruition of what was said and how it was designed. Yet I have not seen, and you have not seen, where is my Republican plan to get rid of and replace Obamacare with something?
We're letting them control the narrative. Do you agree with that, Pappas?
We're letting them control the narrative. And that's
well,
wrong.
and because we're afraid, because we won't do things to get rid of the filibuster, so me and my husband talk about this all the time. And he's like, You don't want to do it. You want to let them do it. But it's like then they do it and then they get everything they want. And so that's exactly how Obamacare was. They shoved it up our asses. They came in there and they said, here you go. And they just pass. We get in, we have everything. And then it's like, okay, we'll do the big, beautiful bill. And then it's like just little tidbits of things.
I'm not a
And
big fan of getting rid of the filibuster. I don't want any side to do it. However, and I do agree with you. If the Democrats were in charge, they'd probably be doing it.
yeah,
Although when they were in charge, they did not do it. That was the one thing they did not do. But I will say that what we could be doing and what we should be doing is every day a different presser. And with alternative news sources, you don't need to have the support of the alphabet soup of media. You can go around them. We should be having a frank discussion of our Republican-sponsored solutions to the healthcare crisis. And let me tell you, it is a crisis. And
It is.
it's
let's be
gonna
real
get
with each
worse.
other. What would the solution be? I know what the solution would be. But the problem is the general public would lose their fucking minds. If Republicans came out and said, okay, we're privatizing it all again, see you later.
They're losing
What
their
will
minds
people do?
anyway. Candace, they're losing their minds anyways because the people that are on Obamacare are seeing a $700 a month, and that's probably low,
Mhm.
is going to go from $1,700 to $1,800 a month, or if not higher. And they cannot afford that. So the point of the matter is they are going to lose their minds regardless. What we need to do is we need to say, have a plan, and I'm sure they have one. I'm not privy to it, but I'm sure smarter
Yeah.
people than I. We have doctors and lawyers, which screw the lawyers, but we have doctors and smart people in Congress and
Yep.
and that have considered this, had plenty of time. We should be pushing our Republican-led plan to partially, yes, I'm a big fan of privatizing. I'm also a big fan of, sell across state lines. Everything
Yes.
should be on national. We should be a big national thing.
Absolutely.
And put the marketplace back at work. I sit there now. I have an elderly family member that's on Medicare. Okay. And I'm stunned. We just did the open enrollment. You see those commercials that I never understood. This was James is used to it because he's old. But at the end of the day, this is new water for me.
Yeah.
And man, we got into this, and I see these things. Nobody cares what it costs. You know why? The consumer, the patient, doesn't care what anything costs because they don't pay it.
They have no idea. Yeah.
They have no idea.
Mhm.
And why some brands, why if there's a generic available, then we should be getting the generic, and why some generics are expensive and why some are available on this plan but not on that plan. It makes no sense. There's no common sense to any of this stuff. And the people in the industry, I have yet to find one person in the medical industry or the insurance industry that says, hey, what we got is a good system. They all say it's broken and it needs to be fixed. And what's going to happen is Obamacare is going to expire, right? And it was supposed to relieve the stress of people at the emergency rooms. It never really did that because when you get sick, the first place you go to now is the emergency room for the most part. And it's going to exacerbate that to no end. So, what's the answer? I would like to hear our Republicans touting their answer. And let's have an open, frank discussion about it, and not have our heads shoved up our ass pretending like this is going to solve itself, because we're getting our asses handed to us by the media. And that's why these young kids, Generation Z, they're like, shit, these guys don't care about us. They're not trying to solve any problems.
Yep. So let me ask y'all this on getting back. That's good points. I don't have the answer on healthcare, but I do know that we better fucking get some answers. It's, we're paying people every day to get these answers and they're not doing it. But do y'all think what is going on with this? And I spent the whole week talking about this Somalian deal. So the way that it's being covered and the way that everything's being diverted, and I got a couple videos I'll break out. So I want y'all's take, and I don't want to say is the American voter, the normal common American voter, I don't want to use the word, are they smart enough? Let's say,
they're not.
Do y'all feel like, are they in tune enough to see what is really going on?
No, because they don't have a comprehension of American history. That's the biggest issue. Okay. They don't understand American history. So then they can't logically think about what is happening today and comparing it to American history. That's the problem. They're getting this like very like bubbly, flowery, oh, stolen land, you know, all that stupid bullshit. So then it's not painting the right picture for them.
All right,
Yeah,
Pappas,
exactly.
That one I shared the other day, and that one drives me out of my mind.
Well, let's
That
go
one
ahead
just
and
drives
let's go
me
ahead
out
and
of
play
my
it then.
The web of fraud to other Minnesota Democrats, such as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Many of the suspects linked to the scheme live in her district, including a restaurant owner who hosted events for her. He has since been convicted of stealing $12 million in COVID funds.
This scandal is going to rock the core.
This dude don't give a
Minnesota
fuck.
politics.
Oh, I love him
and
so much.
American politics. We are going to be able to show through whether it be willful blindness, whether it be deliberately turning the other way, or whether it be direct knowledge. We are going to show how Democrat politicians, Democrat bureaucracies, Democrat political systems, and the Somali refugee population ripped off the American people, stole countless taxpayer dollars, and engaged in scams that boggle the mind, scams that we can scarcely even conceive of or imagine in their brazenness. This truly underscores the extent to which the Democrat Party has used migration as a weapon against the American people to gain political power at the expense of American citizens, stealing their money, stealing their votes, stealing their sovereignty. This is going to be case in point for the argument that President Trump is.
I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to predict, it's a bold prediction, that Ilhan Omar and Tim Walz will be indicted by July.
Oh, I'd love that for us.
I think they're coming after their ass.
Have you all ever been to Minnesota?
Hell
I've
no,
been.
and I never will.
I've been.
been.
Okay.
I've been.
I used to have a nice, fun, cushy corporate job, and that was where headquarters were. I would travel to Minnesota sometimes twice a year. And of course, my ass was going to the Mall of America. Ever been there, Pappas? Mall of America?
I drove past it. I really didn't have the fortitude to go in there. That's
I
not
don't, I don't
I'll
see
tell
Pat
ya.
as being a mall guy.
It's very interesting when you're in there and you see the reality of how many Somalis really fucking
You don't need
live
to go.
there.
You don't need to go to the Mall of America. You just need to go to the fucking airport.
Or
You know,
that.
I landed there in Minnesota, in Minneapolis,
Yep.
and I'm like, what the fuck? Where am I?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they got, no disrespect, but they got their prayer rugs out all over the goddamn place, and they're
It's a
you
sight
know,
to see.
and people. I'm like, I'm sitting there looking around. I don't really feel. What's the word? I'm kind of stupid. I don't really pay attention to my surroundings very much until I'm like knee
I'm with
deep in
you.
it. But I'm like, where the fuck am I? I'm like,
Yep.
Jesus Christ, why
Yeah.
is everyone here?
Oh,
Not only are they, I don't care if they're African American, they just looked foreign. There was nothing American about their appearances. And listen, James, I hope from your mouth to God's ears, I hope she's under indictment. I hope her and her brother go back to Somalia, have a nice life together. But
Have a couple of kids.
couple of kids. But I just don't. Call me a pessimist. Call me jaded. Nothing's gonna happen.
They all get away with it. I mean, but here's the thing. This is quite an interesting operation because when you look at a place like Minnesota in general, right? And they're all getting on TV and they're all saying, but the Somalis are only 2% of the population. Yes, maybe, but they're all in Minneapolis.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So
That
that's
was strategic.
interesting.
It wasn't a fucking accident.
Right, exactly right. And so now you're having all these different business owners who I wonder who gave them all of their licensing to become business owners to then apply for SBAs and whatever the fuck else they got. Okay,
That's
the
right.
PPP loans. Okay, like this is a big web of shit. And what I love is when it came down to the Feeding Our Future group, who was leading that? A white liberal woman. Shocker.
Hey, Candace, did you? I'm sorry, I don't know
Yeah.
this. Did you have a business during COVID?
I did.
Did you get PPP money?
So I did get PPP money, but you know what else I did? I went to my building is attached to my landlords have the whole plaza. I went to my landlords and I said, listen, you want your rent money every month? And they said, yes. I said, great. You're going to shut your fucking mouth. I'm going to keep my lights off and you're not going to care about who comes in there. You're not going to say anything. And they were like,
Well, they're
okay,
not going
no
to
problem.
report you. That's fine.
Yeah.
So I had a business too. I had 2 different businesses, and we were deemed essential. Dry cleaning, we stayed open, and I took the PPP. I mean, it was either that or close. But
Right.
the whole thing with the PPP money, I went to my bank, and the reason I'm asking you this is this is how I went to my bank. I read the process. I went to my bank. I had paperwork backup of all of my payroll expenses.
Same here. Yeah, same here.
You know what my bank said?
Oh, you don't need that.
We don't need that.
Fill it. Just put some numbers here.
So, well, just tell me what it is. I said,
yeah.
Well, isn't anyone going to double check? I mean, if I tell you it's 5 million, you're not going to double check. No, we don't care, because we're making a percentage of that loan. So we don't care. The big they wanted the number to be as big as possible.
Now, did you take out the forgiveness loan?
Did I take out the forgiveness loan? What do you mean?
Because there were two types, I think. Yes.
I got forgiven because I provided documentation.
Same thing here.
That what was the percentage? It was like 80% of the money had to go to your employees or something like that.
It was either employees or I think it was just general, like to run your building.
You had rent, utilities, and employees, and and so when I did that, okay, so on the front side they didn't care about the documentation. Guess where else they didn't care about the documentation? On the back side, because I took it there, and they said, "What's this?" And I mean, it was like that thick, and they said, "What's this?" I said, "Well, I want to show that all my employees, I kept." All my employees, they all got paid. So basically all the PPP program did, and I hear people, and there were some people here locally that are very low information people, such as 513 and other Democrats that they didn't understand, because they're like, oh, well, Pappas took PPP money. I'm like, all that did was make me and you, it made us the unemployment agency arm of the federal government. So instead of firing our employees and having our employees then file for workers or for unemployment insurance, they just gave us the money. It saved the government money in a way, because it took the bureaucracy out of the system, and we were much more efficient giving our employees money than the government could be. But at the end of the day,
you didn't have to worry about how to get them back when it was over.
Well, there was that too. There was that too, right? But the other thing is, think of the government had to look at it from this way. If you had, and first of all, don't get me started on COVID. We could do 10 years of shows on that.
Yeah,
but if you had how many numbers of businesses going under, filing bankruptcy, and then not paying rent, and think of what the commercial real estate market would have done if you would have had at one time, within several months, 60% of the businesses going vacant, storefronts going vacant. Think of the loans think of the landlords that were paying loans, okay, REITs and everything else that were paying loans to banks. Think of that there were investments. Think of the ripple effect of that on the economy. Think of the commercial real estate collapse that would have occurred had the government not stepped in and said, we need to make sure these businesses don't close.
Well, but in truthfully, some states, like even my state, they didn't start helping us until like 4 or 5 months later. So for me, I had to figure out how to generate income to get everybody okay for 4 to 5 months before they even put in the PPP system for any gig workers or anybody to draw from. That was like end of April. So
I don't remember when it was here in Ohio, but I'll say
it was
this.
Insane.
Could you imagine, the reason I mention it is, could you imagine a nefarious person, let's say a Somalian in Somalia, in Minnesota, little Somalia, could you imagine somebody with nefarious purposes, the amount of fraud and corruption that would have occurred with just the PPP program in that community? Could you imagine?
Easily.
Because there was no documentation required.
And they could have just changed names and changed hands from family member to family member to family member. And I think that's what they're going to wind up seeing, is all of that kind of tying together.
Look at this guy. This guy. Now
that leads us to this next video.
Not a good look for Ilhan and Waltz.
Fox News has obtained photos of one of the Somali illegal immigrants wrapped up in the Minnesota fraud scandal, posing with several high-profile Minnesota Democrats, including Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and Governor Tim Walz.
Of course.
The man pictured is Abdul Dahir Ibrahim. He entered the country in 2000 and has had an order for removal since 2004. He also has a prior conviction in Canada for asylum and welfare fraud. ICE tells Fox News Ibrahim was granted temporary protected status for 10 years, but should have never been eligible.
This is unbelievable.
Can I just say,
actually it's very believable. This
well,
is what they do.
My biggest issue is the fact that nobody has connected the dots. Like, why Ilhan Omar is even part of any sort of congressional governmental thing in Minnesota, being a Somali, and then all of a sudden there's all these Somalis and they're all committing fraud. Why is nobody saying this is as obvious as it actually is?
Because they don't want to be called racist.
Call me racist.
That's exactly what
It's
happened.
like, that's it.
That's exactly what
Just
happened.
telling you, they don't want to be called racist.
Well, that's why they put weak people like Walz in office so they can put play him like a puppet. He's just
right.
I can't remember. It was one of the Minnesota elected officials is being investigated for taking. He told them if I do this or something, and forgive me, I don't have the clip, but he said, as long as you donate to my campaign, I'll take care of it. So, I mean, that's how people like Ilhan Omar go from a negative net worth of 60 in the hole, 60 grand when she gets into Congress, take all this fraud and corruption in Minnesota. They're getting government money and they're giving it to her in campaign donations. And you know what? I could be honest with you, and other ways. I mean, I don't know what else she's doing, but I don't know how her net worth jumped up. It'd be a great investigation to see. But
I think we just saw how it jumped up.
Well, I know, but I mean, if you keep your campaign donations, you have to pay that part of that as income. You got to pay 40% of it or whatever, 30% is income. But the point of the matter is that these people getting this money, and let's be fair, Somalia is not known for being particularly the pillar of bastion of civic mindedness and pure as a wind driven snow. It's not. It's a corrupt shithole. So the federal government, and I believe this was done intentionally, they congregate these people. The Democrat administration say, hey, how can we get another seat in X, Y, or Z? So they take these people from Somalia, they plant them in Minnesota. Some are in Columbus too, Columbus, Ohio. Maybe you know, maybe you don't know, but they plant them there. They take people from the Middle East, they plant them in Dearborn, Michigan. And what happens? You have a voting block. They elect. Look where your two most liberal members of Congress are from. You got Ilhan Omar and you got Tlaib from Michigan. Okay, and that's a guaranteed to be a Democrat seat forever and a day. And the people commit corruption. The locals there, and this is the accusation in Minnesota, commit corruption. They turn around and they donate money to the candidate that made sure they got the money in the first place. And it's a vicious cycle, almost like the NGOs were doing. The NGOs got pissed off when they shut them down. The NGOs were doing the same thing with Democrats. They were just funneling money back to Democrats after getting grants from the federal government. So listen, until someone goes to jail, I don't think it's ever going to change. Until the American people wake up and say, this is bullshit. You guys, you're in Pennsylvania, Kansas. James is in Louisiana. People are getting up tomorrow morning. They're going to go to, it's Monday tomorrow morning. They're going to get up. They're going to go to work. They're going to work their asses off. And in another few weeks, Christmas is here. They're working their asses off. And they're saying, what fucking for? If I'm sitting here working my ass off and I'm looking at people committing millions and millions, they think the number in Minnesota, they said $1 billion at first. You know what that number's up to right now?
6 or 7, huh?
$8 billion. $8 billion. So why bother playing by the rules? Why work? Why go to work every day? Why pay? Why fill out your tax return correctly? Nothing happens. No one goes to jail. Name me some politician that's going to go to jail ever for all this crap. And when you do, I'll be happy. But they won't. They won't.
Sadly, it's proven the working man's a sucker, man.
Working man's a sucker.
That's where Gen Z gets it from, right? Because they're thinking like, there it is.
That's why they see the guy getting up every day, working his ass off, and he's not getting ahead. And they're like, screw it. I'll just go, I'll sit on my phone all day. I'll watch my freaking my what is that thing called?
Fortnite?
No. When the people do the OnlyFans. I'll watch
I was acting like he didn't know what it was.
I swear to God, I don't. You want to hear something funny? It's brief aside. Very brief aside. There was a chick, and I sent it to Jason. We'll probably have it on our show tomorrow. There was a chick that had an OnlyFans page, and she had a nose job done, and her logic was she wanted to have her nose fixed, okay, before she had kids, so her kids wouldn't have a chance of inheriting her ugly nose. There you go, Candace. I want you to figure that one out.
Yeah.
Like, this is why we are doomed. We are doomed. I'm telling you, Idiocracy has become like a biography. It's real.
It is real.
It is absolutely real. And the people that walk around, and now they're people that make decisions, right?
Yeah.
They make decisions.
Yeah, they're in there. Yes. These are the people
So
that
give us something in closing, Candace.
Oh Lord.
I
don't know. I know, right? I'm like, fucking A. I mean, okay, so truthfully, we're at a very weird place. I don't know where we are. Truthfully, I don't know the strategy. Are Republicans just being quiet until it's time to get game faces on? I would say the best thing for anybody is, you know what, being conservative, you stay conservative, you fight the good fights, you eliminate distractions, and you focus on the things that make a difference, right? I'll give a quick example. There was a big study about Canada just recently. 27,000 people in Canada die waiting for routine care, MRIs, CTs, surgeries.
I don't know if Tyler could hear, but Tyler comments about that all the time.
And it's oddly enough, people are not talking more about this. And that's how we can get into the heads of some of the younger generation, is people who lobby for socialized medicine. Take a look at Canada. They have to wait on average 30 weeks for a surgery. In terms of terminal illness, that is 100% life or death. I could almost have a baby before I get surgery, right? And so this is where the youth needs to come in. You need to start looking at these things, and you need to understand when the government steps in and says, we're here to help, you fucking run, because it's not going to be good for you. And I think that's what we need to focus on as conservatives and Republicans alike. We need to start educating this generation because they don't know any better.
I agree. I agree with her. And you know, the only reason I'm a little more familiar with that is I have in-laws from Detroit. You know, one of the biggest things in Detroit, you know what it is, right? Is people coming over to the doc in the boxes from Canada because they can't wait for fucking 9 months to get a procedure done.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But you know, what was touted when we were at the beginning of Obamacare, if you're old enough to remember, what was touted? Well, you know, Canada has a single payer system, and it's so much better in Canada. Besides the people that died waiting for procedures in Canada, what was Canada really good at last year? You know what it is?
Beer, Molson 3.0.
Take off, hoser. You know what it is? It was actually, they killed, I believe it was 16 or 17,000 people.
Oh, the assisted shit that they're doing? Yeah.
Shit, you know,
and why do you think they're doing that? Remember, governments don't want to pay for your shit. They'll fucking kill you.
Cheaper to kill you than it is to treat you.
100%.
Don't get me wrong.
It's a cleansing.
Don't get me wrong. I've gone through recently. I've had to go through hospice care.
Yeah.
And hospice is and this gets back to our whole medical system. It's another show plus 10. But hospice sucks. I mean, it just sucks. And it's designed to suck. I mean, it just is what it is. But they're so very proud in Canada that, oh my God, look, we killed 17,000 people.
Yes.
That, you know, they didn't have a good quality life. Someone goes to, and yes, there are higher thresholds in some countries in Europe. You know, in some countries in Europe, you're like, hey, I'm depressed. They're like, okay, well, why don't you kill yourself? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Let's do that. Yeah.
They just had somebody who had a history of mental illness, and she was able to do assisted suicide because of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't believe in that because of depression. I do have a opinion on a doctor-assisted suicide in terminal illness.
That is a separate discussion. Canada killed last year like 17,000 people that they decided were either terminally ill, which, James, I will grant you that. But I mean, what is the population of Canada? It's a lot less than the United States.
I have no
clue.
I'm sure
it's a lot less than the United States. Yet they killed, assisted killing 17,000 people. I want you to fathom. I don't know what the per capita is. I'd like to know. But again, it's a lot. It is a lot. So,
and you know what's funny? The 2008, 2009 propaganda, okay, before Obamacare was implemented, as they were, you know, the discussion was that 40,000 Americans die because they're uninsured, Okay, that was the propaganda that they were circulating in those years, right? Isn't it funny? You don't hear about that shit anymore because it was inherently false. Because how do you come up with that statistic, right? There's so many reasons why people die, right? It could be diseases that they didn't know of, that they were not seeking treatment from for. And so now it's really interesting to see a statistic like that coming out of Canada for 1 year. And it had to do with the fact that they were completely insured by their lovely government, okay? And yet they could not get the care that they needed within the time frame.
Look, listen, I think you guys are onto something, James. I'm going to pass this up the chain of command. I think that it's high time that the Republican Party get off their asses. They can go through Christmas. I'll give them the New Year's, okay, because I'm a generous person. But after New Year's, they might want to consider pulling their proverbial head out of their proverbial ass. Yeah. Let's hear about the Republican plan to replace Obamacare, how we're going to fix our medical care system, and let's get on the offensive and start just giving it to these Democrats in all these other states. And let's go. Let's not just sit back. I don't want to be kinder. I don't want to be gentler. I want to be on the offensive. If we're going to lose in the midterms, I want to go down swinging, and I want to go down swinging hard. And that's pretty much the message that needs to be sent to the Republican Party.
And this is where I'm going to close with that is same thing. It's about messaging. And until we have the ability, we are smarter than them. We have got to stop fighting each other and trying to be the head conservative in charge and fucking come together and kill them with the messaging. Shove all this stuff up there doing. And maybe somebody is sitting there gathering all this, Pappas. I don't know. Maybe they are gathering this up and they're first of the year, we're kicking their ass. I sure in the fuck hope so, because right now, from the outside looking in, it looks like we're sitting on our hands.
Well, I think that you touched on some great issues, and let's hope they're listening. I mean, let's hope they're listening. Let's hope someone's listening. I guarantee you that I will make sure that at least at the state level somebody's listening, and maybe that'll get to the national level. And
my state's fucked.
Yeah, you're fucked. I heard didn't your governor go after he really got offended at he was sniping at Kamala the other day, wasn't he?
Yes, he's a bit butthurt, but I don't know, he's still doing some fucking bullshit with the budget, and now food stamps potentially are going to be pulled again. It's this like vicious cycle of bullshit.
But hey, at least afros are protected now.
Listen, at least we can, and I said that to Bill, and he was like, for fuck's sake, because that's like more shit he's got to deal with, right?
Yeah, that's exactly being an employment attorney.
It's like, I can't deal.
Look, appreciate both of you coming on. Great show. Appreciate everybody listening. We had a big crowd tonight. Until tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, McGee, Candace, and Pappas are out.